Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in Pioneer. Today we're looking at Izzet Phoenix. Izzet Phoenix is a spellslinger deck that seeks to cast cheap cantrips and removal spells to enable Arclight Phoenix, Thing in the Ice, and/or Ledger Shredder. The deck's game plan is to spend the first 3 to 4 turns setting up, digging for specific cards and answering opposing creatures, before binning and returning Phoenixes from the graveyard and growing Shredder or Thing in the Ice into large threats. Phoenix alone often isn't enough of a threat, and so Shredder or Thing accompany it. Shredder churns through cards and enables the deck synergies by binning Phoenixes and putting fuel in the yard for delve spells. It'll also grow out of hand if left alone, and even triggering it just 2 times is usually enough for it to be out of range for most creatures and burn spells in the format. If you're attempting to kill one with damage-based removal, it's important to consider whether they may be able to cast 2 spells in response, triggering it and growing it out of range. Thing in the Ice is the other possible big threat, and while it takes more time before paying off, once it does, it's huge and the bounce trigger trumps other creature decks. The exact sequencing for what you should play and when varies and does take some experience piloting the deck, but in general, you want to maximize the number of spells you're casting each turn. Aside from its cheap cantrips, the deck has multiple ways of drawing many cards, including treasure cruise and pieces of the puzzle. It's usually worth trading 1-for-1 on resources early as much as possible, since you can recoup the cards later on, especially with cruise. Anything that draws and discards is potentially useful, since you want to put Phoenix in the graveyard. Lightning Axe and Ledger Shredder are both good options. However, you don't have to bin Phoenix, and one route to victory is to just cast it normally, especially later in the game. Expressive Iteration having been banned, some potential replacements are Chart a Course or Izzet Charm. Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time's days are also numbered, with the question being not if they'll be banned, but when. Temporal Trespass leverages the deck's tempo game plan and heavy graveyard synergy. It can often win games out of nowhere by attacking with flyers or Thing in the Ice, taking an extra turn, then attacking again for lethal damage. Galvanic Iteration copies the next spell you cast and notably has no restriction on the mana value of it, meaning you can copy Cruise and Trespass. Even copying lower end spells like Pieces of the Puzzle, cantrips, or removal is great. Hall of Storm Giants and Sokenzan provide additional threats in the form of lands and are especially good to attack with during extra Trespass turns. Sideboarding and Weaknesses. Pioneer is made up of only around 12 or so decks with multiple and overlapping archetypes. Primarily, you need to tech against aggro, graveyard decks, control or mid-range value, and ramp or combo. Additionally, there are very specific threats that you'll be seeing often. Rending Volley, Abrade, Anger of the Gods, or any other 1-2 mana burn is for killing Ledger Shredder and Thing in the Ice or other cheap aggro creatures. Disdainful Stroke, Mystical Dispute, and other counterspells fight control and big mana like Lotus Field and mono green ramp. Graveyard hate cards like Unlicensed Hearse are for the Mirror or Greasefang decks. Young Pyromancer and other threats are for fighting through value decks like Rakdos Midrange and Blue-White Control. Izzet Phoenix is looking to do 2 main things: cast lots of cheap spells and put cards in the graveyard. As such, the best ways to fight it are with Graveyard Hate and anything that limits spellcasting like Thalia or Deafening Silence. Narset is also a huge problem since it stops multi-card draw spells like Treasure Cruise and Ledger Shredder, although you can still cast Opt or Consider during the Narset player's turn. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Izzet Phoenix. I want to thank my fellow players in the Magic community for whom sharing their experiences helps make these guides possible. You can find additional resources, such as an up-to-date deck list, in the description. If you think I left out anything important or got something wrong, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned to see what deck we look at next time.